Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. When it comes to investing, it's very clear that institutions and businesses behave differently than the typical lemming retail investors out there. Which is to say that when markets go down, they don't panic sell. They don't think it's the end of the world. They don't look at what price is doing directionally one day and assume that, oh, I guess it's just going to do that forever. But your typical emotional lemming retail investor out there, that's exactly how they respond to markets here. And so I say that, I opened that video stating that because as I'm recording this, it's very clear yesterday, even going into this morning, XRP price has dropped a lot, getting closer to $3 as of the time that I'm recording this. It's gotten as low as that, as low as like $3.05. So I don't know what it is by the time that you're watching this, but XRP, yes, price drop. The entire asset class went down in tandem. This is not an XRP specific thing. And so I mentioned this to note that businesses and institutions that get into XRP, they understand that it is a winner, an early winner in the crypto space. They understand that if you let enough time pass, it's only going to be worth, XRP will only be worth more and more as more investors enter the space, because it's still early in the in the adoption of the entire crypto asset class. I know it's been around 16 years now, but it's only a tiny percentage of humans that have ever owned any crypto at any point in time. It's way less than 1% of people that have ever bought XRP at any point in time. It's almost nobody. So congratulations to you for being here first and finding out about it and taking action on it. And I very sincerely mean that. We're regular people. I'm a regular guy. You're regular people. We're all just trying to better our financial situation. And this is the best way to do it that there has ever been in the history of our species. There has never been an investment vehicle like crypto. There's never been anything like this. And we're living through this. Through the advent of crypto, we have this opportunity. It's incredible. And so it turns out, now that there's this level playing field in the world of crypto, and so XRP, it's no longer being attacked by the United States government. And now that the war on crypto is over in the United States, which is the largest capital market on the planet, turns out a lot of businesses want to throw money into XRP specifically. And here is another such instance here. Look at this headline. Nature's Miracle Holding Inc. announces an up to $20 million corporate XRP Treasury program. This is a publicly traded company, mind you, that is creating an XRP Treasury. They're using XRP as a Treasury Reserve asset. That is the purpose of this. For the long term, specifically for the long term. So if you're feeling spooked yesterday and today because the market's going down and XRP price is down to whatever degree, just know that the leaders here at this company don't give a damn. You do, they don't, because they are long-term oriented and they well understand what I've been talking about in recent videos, that this is normal in crypto, and it doesn't mean that XRP is dead or done or going to zero or anything of the sort. It's just that people get hit in their feels when this price action happens. But this publicly traded company, do you think that they're shaking in their boots? They announced this the same day the market started tanking. Do you think they give a damn? They're like, I'm willing to bet. I don't think they're not going to care at all. Why would they? Institutions and businesses, they understand this and they don't emotionally respond. It's very obvious here. And so take a look at this. And there are tons of companies, and I'll highlight them a little bit later in this video. There are tons of companies that have announced that they're launching or have launched XRP treasuries, so using XRP as a Treasury Reserve asset, and they've done it since the election went down. Because President Trump is now president, because he won the election, that's the reason all of this is happening. And XRP, it was already going to rally regardless. It's going to be worth way more, way faster because of the way things have gone down, because the war on crypto is over. And I've always said, like when we were going through that lawsuit for practically half a decade, I always said, in a world where we have like a level playing field, XRP will just dominate, utterly dominate. And why? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but it just works. It does what Bitcoin cannot. It functionally works. You can use it as money if you want to, which was the original purpose for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's supposed to function as a peer-to-peer cash system. That's what was written by Satoshi Nakamoto in the white paper. Remember that? Except for it can't do that effectively at all because it's very expensive and transactions are slow. XRP literally can do that. It turns out market participants actually value that. And there are lots of businesses that are using XRP for various things. So anyway, this piece reads as follows. Check this out. Nature's Miracle Holding Inc., a leader In vertical farming technology, today announced that the company is establishing an up to $20 million corporate XRP Treasury program. And folks, I love that they announced this on the day that XRP was tanking with the rest of the market, because it just doesn't matter and it's funny. And they're not, I know they just don't care. Anyway, the company will use the proceeds of the equity financing from GHS Investments, for which a registration statement on Form S1 was recently declared effective by the SEC to fund the purchase of XRP and working capital needs. By the way, this is the official press release here. This strategic move positions Nature's Miracle as one of the first publicly traded companies to adopt XRP, the third largest cryptocurrency, as its core treasury strategy, folks. That's right, they didn't pick Bitcoin as a core treasury strategy. They didn't pick gold. They didn't pick anything else. They selected XRP as their core treasury strategy. So if you think XRP makes sense long term, is going to be worth way more in the future, just know that brilliant people, wealthy people, and successful businesses, and all sorts of institutions, they agree with you. There are so many that agree with you. And so far, it's very obvious XRP is an early winner in the crypto space. So yeah, doing something like this, having XRP as a core treasury strategy, makes sense to me. Why the hell wouldn't you? It's better than holding dollars, that's for damn sure. Talk about a holy debasement, Batman, you know? Anyway, press release continues. The initiative will focus on the acquisition of XRP tokens as long-term strategic reserves. Long-term, folks. They're not freaking out about the short-term here. I promise you that. So long-term strategic reserves, the deployment of staking mechanisms to generate yield, and engagement within the Ripple ecosystem. So there's nothing specific about that, but presumably there's some sort of arrangement for moving money somehow with Ripple, because I can't imagine in an official press release that they wouldn't know the difference between Ripple and XRP, although if that's the case, I will laugh hysterically. So I guess technically put an asterisk next to that one. Anyway, to support this initiative, Nature's Miracle will fund the purchase of XRP initially through a portion of the equity financing that may be received from the recently effective S1 registration statement when the company elects to sell securities pursuant to such financing arrangement. The company may subsequently increase its adoption of XRP through a mix of equity issuance, strategic placements, and structured financing instruments. With President Trump's signing of Genius Act on July 18, 2025, more institutions are adopting cryptocurrency as a core treasury holding, said James Lee, the CEO of Nature's Miracle. And here's another quote from him. "We see the huge potential of XRP as it improves the speed and reduce the costs of cross-border payments. Many established financial institutions like Banco Santander and American Express are already involved with XRP. We believe that the adopting of an XRP treasury program will benefit our shareholders and the company." End quote. And you know what? That sure as hell has been true so far, at least. Take a look at this headline. They were covering the story. It's from BN Crypto. A California firm's stock soars 150% after announcing XRP Treasury plan. That's right, folks. This company, Nature's Miracle, they announced this, and their stock price went up 150% on the news. Oh, you love to see it. And again, it's funny. That happened on a day where XRP was going down. Stock still went up. People get it. You know, come on, it's very obvious. And there have been other firms. Like, take a look at this. Let me give you a handful of examples just to drive home the point that if you think XRP makes sense, you're not the only one. Brilliant people. And it's just wealthy, successful individuals, but also businesses and institutions agree with you that XRP makes sense. And it couldn't be more obvious. The fact that XRP is still around after it was attacked. Like, if anything was going to kill XRP, that attack from the SEC, that's the heaviest attack you could have made. That's the worst you could have done. And it didn't even knock XRP, not even temporarily, out of the top 10 coins by market cap. Yes, it artificially suppressed the price for a few years, but not enough to knock it out of the top 10. And that, to me, is stunning, frankly. So look at this headline. This is from May 29th. Vivo Power raises $121 million to launch XRP Treasury strategy with Saudi royal backing. And so this is when we found out that Saudi royalty has been holding XRP for like the better part of a decade, and now they're launching this, a treasury strategy for XRP. You'll love to see it. Look at that. $121 million. That's not the only one. Here's one from May 12th. Florida's Wellgistics adopts XRP for healthcare payments with $50 million credit facility. And so this company, they're functionally using it in payment flows within the company, but it also is used as a Treasury Reserve asset. So both. That's actual utility, my friends. Here's a headline from June 4th of this year. Chinese firm Webis's stock jumps after filing with SEC for $300 million XRP Strategic Reserve. That's right, a $300 million Strategic Reserve XRP. And stock price did well for this company also. Again, all of this happened after the election. It's because the election went the way it did that we're seeing all this stuff. This is so fantastic for XRP holders. XRP won. XRP already won. We just have to sit tight and watch the price appreciate over time. Here's another one. This is from June 12th this year. Singapore's Trident Digital targets mammoth $500 million raise to establish XRP Treasury. Yet another company with an XRP Treasury. Here's another example. And this might have been the first one ever, at least the first one that I can recall seeing. This is from December 6th. And I remember covering this at the time, and I was really excited about this because, like, oh my God, like, yeah, wow. This is what I always believed could happen, and it actually did. All we needed was a level playing field and a United States government that wasn't attacking crypto. And here you are. So here's the headline. XRP enters corporate treasury reserves with Worksport and BC Bud co-investments. That's just fantastic. You love to see it. One last example here. This is from May 29th this year. Hyperscale data subsidiary Alt Capital Group plans to launch XRP lending platform for U.S. public companies in Q3 2025. And so that is additional actual XRP utility, but it's also being used. XRP is also being used as a Treasury Reserve asset. I mean, this is big stuff, folks. We picked a winner. We just very obviously did. So whatever's happening, by the time you're watching this, I don't know if the price is rebounded for XRP or if it's even lower or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a flash in the pan moment. This thing's just going to keep trending up. It could not be more obvious. As far as I'm concerned, that's a virtual certainty. Nobody knows for sure what's going to happen with price, including me, obviously. But we're speaking in terms of probabilities, and my conviction's never been higher as an XRP holder. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.